Welcome to the commentary track for Stop. My name is Malcolm Ferrier, and I'm the writer and director of this film. The character you see here is called Rudy Toot. Dean Massacre was responsible for the CGI for that character. Did a great job. This little intro piece was supposed to give the idea that there are multiple realities all layered on top of each other, and so the text kind of provides a little bit of a visual metaphor for that. Because we made this movie for about $600, we had to use some historical footage instead of actually recreating a lot of these events. If we had $1 million, we'd go back to 1962 and show a lot more of what's going on there. And in fact, the expanded script talks a lot about all the events that led up to the plot points that you see in the short film Stop. So hopefully at one point we'll have $1 million to be able to go in and redo this movie with all of the extra elements. The character you see here is the agent. He never got a name, and probably never will. I guess relating to Clint Eastwood's character in The Man with No Name, I decided that this character, you'd never know what his real name was. He's just passed through time. He's calling to find his contact, John Foster, and he's going to meet him as soon as he can steal himself a car. We filmed this on top of a parking garage near my apartment. The graffiti you see on the walls there, it was great to have that and not have to worry about visual interest in that particular scene. We'd actually extended this scene somewhat before. We've cut out quite a bit to kind of move it along a little bit faster, but you see he's got a little device there that can open locks and start up cars and removes the ability for him, or the need for him to actually have to find a way to get into buildings or steal cars or what have you. The first time we did that scene, it was with a scooter. The car works better. And now here we're introduced to the villain of the piece. This is X, played by Stefan Novak, who did a fantastic job of this character. He's not a violent man by any means, but he certainly gave the character an air of menace. We filmed this in his apartment. Took a few days. We'd actually started filming this movie in High 8, which is a analog video format that did not look very good at all. So we had to redo a few scenes. This scene and the scene previous to this was Steve stealing the car. They turned out a lot better with the mini DV format that we ended up using. The next film we're going to be using high def, definitely, because even though I was satisfied with the quality of this video, high def will look a lot better. So Stefan has just gotten the call from Victoria Becker about this object that's sitting in a bank safety deposit box, so he'll be going to pick that up soon. Meanwhile, Steve Race, the agent, is going to meet his contact, John Foster, who is also a fellow time-traveling spy. So you see him getting his guns together, and of course those guns, they look not bad, but they're made of plastic. I think I picked them up at the dollar store. The budget of this movie was about $600, and that certainly wasn't intentional. I just added up the receipts at the end of the movie, and the movie had cost $600. So here comes John Foster, and it was great that we got John Phillips to play this character. He's a friend and a yoga instructor, and he turned out to be absolutely perfect for the part. Never acted before, and ended up giving a great performance. So there's a little bit of suspense here. You're wondering whether the agent is going to be killing this guy because you've seen his guns. You have no idea what his motivation is here. But then he calls to John Foster. John Foster turns around, and the agent pulls out the time device instead of a gun. And, of course, John Phillips recognizes it, and they go and have a chat about what's actually going on here. Meanwhile, Stefan is going to the bank to pick up his time device. We'd actually filmed that in front of the CIBC building downtown. We just ran up, set up the camera, filmed what we needed, and ran away. And in fact, all of the locations, all the exterior locations you see, we filmed that way. If we'd had the money to pay for it, I think we would have. We did not, so we just went and filmed, and very happy about the lack of jail time over that. So here's some exposition. Steve and John are talking about the explosion and why Steve is here. He's got to stop this quantum explosion, and John Phillips should be able to help him. This next scene is a bit of a flashback to how John Phillips came to be where he's at. He went back and stopped the nuclear war that resulted from the Cuban Missile Crisis because it went off the rails. He was able to get to John F. Kennedy and stop that, and that's how he ends up being in this particular time with a Cuban Missile Crisis that didn't end up becoming a worldwide nuclear war. This piece of CGI there I put together with a video game engine called Unreal 2, and it's fairly primitive, but I was quite proud of the fact that we actually developed our own CGI. And also, I mentioned Dean Massacre earlier. He had done the CGI of Rudy Toot and did a great job of that. And here's the director, me, getting shot by a younger John Phillips, who also happens to be me. We filmed that down in our parking garage in the basement of our apartment, and actually put together this whole sequence which describes a fairly complicated chain of events, and we were able to do it with historical footage and a little bit of live action footage, and ends up hopefully telling the story, a fairly complicated story that gives you some idea of John Phillips' background and the origin of the time devices and so forth. Now, it turns out that after nuclear war, the time devices were supposed to be sent to the NSA so the NSA could go back and stop the nuclear war, and John Foster had left the time devices with a lawyer, and